I'm standing by the radio on Saturday night listening to NPR as the news and the sounds and the images pour in from Houston. On Sunday morning, watching online on the New York Times as a 3-year-old is pulled from off a roof. People, young and old, animals, oxen, pets, everything underwater. And in a matter of hours, to go from normal life, everyday life, to losing everything. I saw photos from a shul that was flooded. And just 2 weeks ago, I spent 4 days with the rabbi from that shul in the West Bank. More about that later. But I have a confession to make. As the images flooded in and the words like magnitude, calamity, unprecedented, new normal, Katrina again, as the realization of what happened began to sink in, so too I experienced this counter instinct to hide, to look away, to shut my eyes, to let the distance between New York City and Houston, Texas, serve as a barrier to responsibility and to empathy. These past few months have taken such a toll on us, and my defense was wanting to turn away and to protect myself. But thank God for the voice that said, "No way, sister." Thank God for the voice of Kiteitzei, this week's parsha, that calls out not once, but 3 times, Lo tir'eh, don't look, don't see, v'hit alem, and then turn away, or hide yourself, or disappear. Do not see something and look away. So here's the situation in this week's parsha. Lo tir'eh et shor achicha, o et sev nidachim. Don't look and see the ox or the sheep that belongs to your brother who has gone astray, v'hit alamta mehem, and turn away from them. Hashev teshivem la'achicha, you must surely return them to your brother. Don't look and then turn away. Because Rashi says, once you have seen, you can't commandeer your eyes and unsee. Once you see, you know something. Once you see, you're responsible. You can't be 4 years old again and say, my eyes are closed, I am invisible, and none of you can see me. Because in the act of seeing, I'm tagged, I'm it, I'm responsible. Cain asked the question, am I my brother's keeper? And the unqualified voice of Deuteronomy responds, heck yes. Don't see your sister's loss and then turn away. Don't hide. Don't disappear. Lo lehitalem. I don't know about you, but I know how to hide. I might not be able to unsee, but I'm very capable of forgetting. Selective memory as a very good defense mechanism. And in moments of weakness, I can convince myself that eneni kedai, I'm not worthy, and my actions don't have impact. But what's your hiding mechanism? In that split second, after I see my brother or my sister's loss or injustice, will I try to hide passively as a bystander? Will I turn away from what belongs to my brother? Or will I step out of passivity, break through the inertia, crash through the status quo, and be a responsible upstander? Let's say for a moment that I see and I don't turn away. What am I obligated to do? It's simple, says Moshe in this week's parsha. When your brother has lost something, maybe because an act of God or through an act of violence or even negligence, it doesn't matter. If we see that she has lost something, it is upon us aleinu to return it. In the Babylonian Talmud, in Tractate Bava Metzia, we learn that we don't just need to bring it back that one time. Maybe our sister is a little bit absent-minded and she loses her keys or her sheep or her ox like every 5 days. We have to return it each and every time. It seems that there was no compassion fatigue for our sages. But what about when it's not a simple scenario? What happens when I see the loss, I see the injustice, and I don't know what to do? When it's not clear how to contribute or how to right a situation? Or what happens if perhaps I'm witnessing at a distance, I'm not proximate to the loss? Let's go back into Deuteronomy, because the next verse has something to say on this. Ve'im lo karov achicha elecha ve'lo yadato. If your brother experiences this loss, but is far away, is not close, or maybe you don't know who the owner of this sheep is, ve'asafto el toch beitecha ve'haya imcha. It doesn't matter. You will gather it, whether it's the cow or the sheep or the gold ring, and you're going to bring it home with you. You don't know who it belongs to. They may never show up, but you have to bring it home with you. It will be with you. Ad drosh achicha oto v'hashavoto lo, until the time that your brother or sister comes to claim it, and you will return it to her. Okay, so what's happening here? Basically, I see a stray sheep. It's not a local breed. This lost sheep is from hundreds of miles away, and I have no idea who owns it or where it lives. And somehow I'm supposed to take this sheep home with me and keep it indefinitely until it becomes perhaps clear who it belongs to? No way. Similarly, our inclination when we see images of loss and injustice that we don't know how to solve or we don't understand our role in the solution is to turn away, to see, and then to hide. Or if it's a cataclysmic event far away, we imagine that we have the luxury of turning away. But the Torah says, take that sheep that you don't know what to do with and take it home with you. You are responsible for it. So you don't know what to do with it? Fine. Sit with it. Feed it. Nurture it. Until you know who it belongs to, until she comes home to claim it. It's a moment that maybe is reminiscent of right before the Exodus, when we take the lamb into our home, spread the blood as a reminder, as a mezuzah. We're afraid, but we do it anyway. And here too, we bring the living sheep into our home. It's inconvenient at best and oppressive at worst, and very messy, but it's our responsibility to our brother and our sister, even the ones we don't know, and we cannot afford to turn away. 2 weeks ago, I returned from a trip to Israel and Palestine after 4 years in New York, and I realized how much I had forgotten in the past 4 years. How I had, in many regards, turned away from what I saw and heard while living in Jerusalem and traveling in the West Bank. Because once I was back here in the United States, I wasn't clear on my role. How could I be part of solutions from so far away, especially when it's much easier and safer in synagogue communities not to talk about Israel? And particularly now, with the hate and the moral decay in leadership in our own country, there's so much to do here. How can I think about there? But the Deuteronomic voice shouts, don't disappear. Don't hide and don't turn away. Take all of the experiences home with you, put them in your suitcase, unpack them, and place them like a mezuzah on your doorpost. Even if you don't know what to do with it right now, meditate on them until you know what to do. And so this year, a big part of my own teshuvah is to steady my gaze and not turn away. As hard as it is, as cumbersome as it is to stay engaged and not to hide, it's like bringing a sheep into your 5th floor walk-up and caring for it. But in the words of our teacher and prophet, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, morally speaking, there is no limit to the concern one must feel for the suffering of human beings. That indifference to evil is worse than evil itself. That in a free society, some are guilty, but all are responsible. We are responsible for our sisters and brothers, and we must never hitalem, we must never hide, disappear, or ignore. And as I sat with my impulse to turn away from seeing all of the images of Houston, I came across an email from a Jewish Houstonian woman that she wrote to Rabbi Arthur Waskow. As the rain fell, she heard the words of the prophet Isaiah in her head. Ki ta'avor b'mayim itcha ani. For when you pass through the water, I am with you. Uvaneharot lo yishtafucha. As you pass through the rivers, you will not be overwhelmed. She wrote to Rabbi Waskow, today I tried to chant those words from Isaiah, I won't let the waters overwhelm you. But the tears and emotion flowed so powerfully that I could not speak. I ask your support to chant it for and with me as I navigate the waters of change in my life. And for all of those who are facing challenges of losing their homes. We stand with her and we chant for all. We won't turn away our gaze.